Monday edition of PFT OT, the extra time that we have to talk about whatever we really feel like talking about, or things we didn't get to, or things we didn't get to talk about as much as we would like to. And Chris, I want to start today with one of the issues that isn't one of the obvious issues in the Antonio Brown trade. There are so many obvious things to discuss. Something that we kind of touched on during the show as you were discussing how the Raiders will use Antonio Brown moving forward and all the things that Gruden will do to get him the ball. How much pressure is this going to put on Derek Carr to actually deliver? We saw a few shots taken last year by John Gruden at Derek Carr when Amari Cooper wasn't getting the ball. And every once in a while, it feels like Gruden's tightening the screws on Carr.
Right.
This is really going to amplify Carr's role in the offense if he can't get the ball to Brown.
Yeah, well, Gruden will never back off from tightening the screws on Carr. That's just the way he acts with the quarterback. I mean, even when Rich Gannon was in MVP conversations and he was the head coach of those Raiders teams, he was still, kind of prodding at Rich Gannon during those times. That's just the way he operates. Now, as far as pressure that Antonio Brown will put on Derek Carr, there's not going to be as many excuses this year for Derek Carr as far as, hey, your weapons weren't as good. It's your first year in the offense, pass protection not being as good, all of that. He's going to have pressure and wanting to deliver for an Antonio Brown. I've been there, and I'm certainly have never played with anybody quite as awesome as Antonio Brown in his prime of his career, but Joey Galloway was awesome. Even Tim Brown, when I got to play with him late in his career. As a quarterback, you do feel the pressure when those type of guys are in the huddle, even Keyshawn Johnson, because you want them to like them. You want to deliver the ball exactly how they see fit on certain routes. So you're trying to do that so you can put extra pressure on yourself as far as trying to be too perfect. But Gruden is going to make the offense about Antonio Brown, and he's going to make it very easy as far as Derek Carr having to find Antonio Brown. Like I talked about on the TV show, Mike, he's going to show plays that Jerry Rice has run in his offense, Joey Galloway, Sterling Sharp, whoever it may be, to show, look, Antonio, this is what you can be. We're going to do all this for you. He's not only going to get Antonio to buy in with that, the rest of the team will buy in, Derek Carr will buy in. So pressure on Derek Carr, yes, but like a good pressure, I think.
Well, yeah, a good pressure until it's not good pressure.
That's
because
right.
Let's think about this.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown's being double covered.
Yeah.
But John Gruden thinks he was open. And you know what? Antonio Brown is one of those guys who, when he is double covered, he's still open. Will Derek Carr trust his own skills and abilities to throw the ball into that window that may not be as big as it otherwise would be? But both Brown and Gruden are demanding that he do it. And then what if he starts throwing interceptions? I mean, this is something that can cascade out of control in a very negative way for the Raiders very quickly. And I know Raiders fans don't want to hear that right now. They want to go get their AB jerseys, and they want to have visions of getting back to the playoffs and actually winning a playoff game for the first time in a very long time. But I just think that we shouldn't assume that Carr is going to be able to pull it off. And it could be that this is just the next step toward getting a new quarterback in Oakland. And if Carr can't do it, maybe next year they're going to have somebody else being the one who throws the passes to Antonio Brown.
Well, yeah, like I said, Derek Carr will certainly have to show improved play this year now that he's got a guy like him there. And, hey, let's not get it messed up. I mean, the points you made are very valid, certainly. This ain't choir boy practice out there. I mean, I will not – I mean, week 3, week 4, do I think we might see John Gruden and Antonio Brown, trading back some MFers and some FUs and Derek Carr in the middle probably saying, gosh dang it, because he doesn't swear, gosh darn it, and damn you and all that. Yeah, I think we're going to see that a few times during the season on the sidelines. Gruden is emotional and animated. Antonio Brown is the same way. Derek Carr having to deal with them is going to become more emotional and animated, as is anyways. So I don't think this is going to be a bad combination. I think it'll be good, but I certainly think we're going to see some moments of, extracurricular talking and yelling between all three. I think we'll see that during the year.
Another thing to consider, the schedule is currently being formulated by the league office. Having Antonio Brown will make the Raiders more attractive. And what kind of schedule will they get early on? Will they have the Chiefs early on? Will they have tough games like the Chargers early on in primetime? I can envision Raiders, Chiefs, that Monday Night Football right out of the gates, the late game, right? And if you load up the Raiders with tough contests early in the season, what happens? Tough defenses, tough games, frustrating losses. It's not going the way we thought. By the time you get into October, everyone's blood pressure is a lot higher. Watch that schedule closely. How those first 4 or 5 games are constructed for the Raiders may go a long way toward influencing, Chris, whether or not this works.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot there. Early season success certainly will start things off a lot smoother than, it's week 3 or 4 and things haven't gone that well. And now you're starting to see the pressure get to the Raiders and Gruden, Antonio Brown and all that. Yes, certainly. But like I said, Gruden's going to put all his eggs in that Antonio Brown basket. He's going to make the offense all about him. He's going to feed the beast and play to that totally, to the point where defenses are going to have to go so out of their way to take him away. Then Gruden will, infiltrate with other guys and other ideas off of that because Antonio Brown is being taken away.
One of the potential ripple effects of the Antonio Brown trade is the power that this move could give other players, or at least cause other players to try to exert the same kind of power that Antonio Brown ultimately displayed over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Even if the truth is the Steelers were bound and determined to get rid of him, and it's coincidental that it looks like he got out of Pittsburgh because he wanted out, people are going to think he got out because he wanted out. And the guy to watch, the other high-end receiver who has been linked sort of to some trade chatter this offseason, Odell Beckham Jr. Now, Dave Gettleman, the GM of the Giants, has said on multiple occasions we didn't sign him to trade him. Well, I'm sure the Steelers didn't sign Antonio Brown to trade him either, but here we are. Do you believe Odell Beckham Jr. is going to become emboldened by this? Remember, he answered that question last year. Are you happy in New York? That's a tough question. No, it's not. You either are or you aren't. And if you aren't, will he embark on a plan? I mean, wouldn't it be something if Odell Beckham Jr. decides, you know what, I'm going to go hire Drew Rosenhaus, and I'm going to have him construct the same exit strategy for me that he constructed for Antonio Brown? I just think this could get very interesting for the Giants and Odell Beckham Jr. if Beckham decides he's going to try to take a page out of the Antonio Brown playbook, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if Odell Beckham Jr. wasn't a guy I thought of on Sunday when this whole thing went down with the Raiders and Antonio Brown and the Steelers and everything. My mind did go to Odell Beckham Jr. Of course, I've been one of those guys that thinks that there's still that possibility that he does get traded this offseason. The Giants, I know, are saying we didn't sign him to trade him, but, of course, last offseason, that was a big talking point, that they might trade him and do that. To your point, what you just said, yeah, Odell Beckham Jr. hasn't exactly given, the fans and all of us that, I love it here in New York, I'm staying here in New York. So it does seem like there's a crack in the door for whether him being unhappy in New York or wanting to play somewhere else. The big thing is for an Odell Beckham Jr. and the big thing in general for any star players, yes, this is going to embolden players. But the one thing we know, most of these guys like to be liked by the public and by their teammates and other people. They've been liked by people most of their lives. You're going to have to be enemy number one of the public, like Antonio Brown was. I mean, you read comments about any Antonio Brown article lately, everyone is, I'm glad he's not on our team. He's a big mouth. I just read through it. Except the Raiders fans are the ones excited. You love him, except you hate him, except if he's on your team. But you have to be willing to be the bad guy if you want to force the hands in these type of issues. But hey, Odell Beckham Jr., he's probably looking at this going, that's interesting. I thought of a guy like Julio Jones yesterday. He's sitting there probably at home going, wait, Atlanta paid Matt Ryan double what I make, more than double what I make per year. He's probably still scratching his head over that. And then he's going, wait, Antonio Brown's making $7 million more a year than I am, or 6.5, whatever it may be. I think of that too, where he's going to go to Atlanta and go, no, I need more money. I'm in that conversation with Odell and Antonio Brown, and I'm being severely underpaid. Does he start to force things happen? So we could see a ripple effect.
And here's the thing, we see a guy take a stand and he becomes the villain. But was it really that bad for Antonio Brown? There are plenty of people cheering him on. I think that Brown has maybe shown us that it is okay for an athlete to stand up and say, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And if you have a problem with it, it's your problem. Because there are people who have been waiting for NFL players. And I thought this would happen sooner, Chris, because we now know all that we need to know about the health and safety risks these players take all the time.
Yep.
So they should exert their leverage. They should apply pressure. People say, oh, you've signed a contract. There are always two contracts at play: the contract between the player and the team, and the broader contract between the league and the union. And there are plenty of rights that players have under that broader contract, and they can use them if they want. Brown did it in kind of a haphazard way, but it worked. And I think every agent out there with a high-profile player who maybe would like a change of scenery needs to ask himself or herself, what can I do to engineer a path out of town if that's what my client wants? Because maybe it's not as hard as we thought it was.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very justifiable thing. But also, I mean, to flip that around, I don't know what the Steelers were panicking for and how to get him out of town anyways so quickly, right? I mean, at least that's my 2 cents here as we're still digesting all of this. I understand March 17th, $2 million were due, but that's peanuts as comparison to what you're trying to get done here. I am just shocked, I think, still that the Steelers didn't wait this out a little bit more, maybe hold Antonio Brown's feet to the fire a little more. I think they had more leverage here than maybe they let on or they thought they had. At least it looks that way from my standpoint.
I also think there's a certain amount of pride that comes into play here, that if they had rolled up their sleeves and played hardball with Antonio Brown and the situation would have gotten worse and worse, it would exacerbate the embarrassment because the Steelers created this mess. They allowed a 6th-round draft pick from Central Michigan to become bigger than the team. And if they had taken him on the way the Eagles did with Terrell Owens in 2005, it would have created a lot of a bigger, I think, embarrassment and humiliation for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Antonio Brown leaving is just one part of the humiliation that the Steelers are dealing with because LeVeon Bell worked the system to his advantage, and he will be a free agent because the Steelers weren't going to apply the franchise tag again after Bell sat out all of the 2018 season. So we think he may go to the Jets. I could see the Raiders get involved. Here's the bottom line. What do we think Le'Veon Bell is going to get per year, Chris? I've got an idea. I want to hear yours, though. This is a little Price is Right here. I want to know what you think Bell's going to get, and then I'll tell you what I think he's going to get.
Okay, I think I know what you say he's going to get. I know you're probably going to say something over $17 million a year, something along those lines. I think it's going to be just north of 15. I think he gets something like 15 and a half a year, something like that. I think he certainly tops Todd Gurley as the highest paid running back in all football, but I also think at the same time, teams are going to be able to point to Todd Gurley and use that against Le'Veon Bell and go, look, here's the highest paid guy, and here we were, year 2 of the contract. He couldn't really play to full strength at the end of the year because of the running back position. I think that'll get used against him a little bit, out of the fact that he didn't play football for a year. So I'm going to say he gets somewhere like 4 years, north of $60 million with over $30 million something guaranteed, but an annual average of like 15.5.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Every year we're astounded by the deals that these guys get because the numbers are so big. We almost can't comprehend when they go up, and we think when they go up that it's some obscene jump. But the reality is the salary cap keeps moving north every year. It's right. 188.2 now. It's up another 10 million. It has shot up over the last 5 years. And that's why I look at this and I say, you know what, 15 million, 15, 16 was kind of the number last year that he was looking for. I think 17 is the over-under. I think he will do better than 17. Now, it may be a 5-year deal where there's a way to massage it and say it's worth this, that, or the other. I think it's going to be a short-term deal. I think it's going to be fully guaranteed at least for the first 2 years and maybe half of year 3. If the Jets sign him, that's what they did with Darrelle Revis a few years ago. Fully guaranteed the first 2 and guaranteed a big chunk of year 3, maybe all of year 3. Kirk Cousins got all 3 years fully guaranteed last year with the Vikings, although there's a greater risk of injury for a running back, which could make the Jets or whoever it is more reluctant to do it. But I think it will be north of 17.
Wow.
We will be stunned by it, but we shouldn't be. Look at this, Chris. Well, Antonio Brown getting $30 million guaranteed from the Raiders when he had 0, getting $16.7 million over the next 3 years. We would have been stunned by that a week ago, knowing that the guy really had no leverage. There was only one team going after him, and he still got 16.7. And let me tell you this. Le'Veon Bell is going to want more than 16-7 now. That Antonio Brown's getting 16-7 over the next 3 years. I think, even though they were teammates, there's probably a little rivalry between the two. He's going to want to one-up him, and I think he's going to shoot for 17. He already was shooting for that,
yes.
And I think he's going to get more than 17.
Man, I guess where I just, that I look at that as a high number because I go, okay, Todd Gurley's making $14.3 million per year. Number 2 in that list at running back position is David Johnson at $13 million per year. And then there's a considerable fall off from those two. I mean, the next guy in line is Devontae Freeman at $8.2 million a year. So I guess that's where I go, man, I just don't envision it being that big of a jump as far as $3 million more per year than the next highest guy at your position if you're saying over $17 million. So we'll see. Maybe we I don't want to do it. I was going to say, maybe we do double or nothing on that steak or wine thing.
Nope. I don't feel strongly enough about it.
Okay.
And you know what? It's probably smart that you. I'm always like, know when to hold him, know when to fold him, know when to walk away, know when to run. Right. I'm happy to have one steak dinner, but I think that it would end up being 2. I'd feel really bad taking 2 steak dinners from you because I think it is going to be north of 17.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah, well, if you really do, then, put your money where your mouth is, okay?
No, I'm not that. No. One more before we wrap it up today. Trent Brown, the left tackle who came in and did a great job for the Patriots last year. I know you have said very complimentary things about him.
Yep.
It looks like he's gone.
Yeah.
And for the second straight year, a left tackle gone from the New England Patriots. It was Nate Solder. Now it's Trent Brown. Why do the Patriots do this, Chris?
Well, I think the big thing is they have depth on their offensive line. That's the first thing you look at, right? They have guys there, and they drafted a first-round tackle last year, and Isaiah Wynn from Georgia, who got hurt early in the year or preseason. I can't remember exactly, where he didn't get to contribute to the team. I mean, in fact, the Patriots, what's amazing about them is 2 out of their first 3 picks last year, which was one of them Isaiah Wynn. The other one was Duke Dawson, a corner out of Florida, who's a phenomenal football player. Dude, they didn't even play. So there they are. The Patriots are going to get better, and they haven't even done anything as far as they're just going to have guys that they drafted actually contribute this year. But I think the big thing with Trent Brown, first of all, the Patriots, they're always looking for bargains. They never want to be, we're going to pay this position top dollar in football. That's why they're letting Trey Flowers go along. But I think along with Trent Brown, as amazing he is at run blocking, if there was an issue to his game, hey, he's a giant of a man. I mean, he looks like he's eaten 2 of you. That's how big he is. I mean, and I do think pass protection was a little bit of an issue as the year went along, and that probably worries them, let alone the price tag he's commanding. And then, of course, they have depth at that position. They're New England, and they're not going to overpay 3 cents for anybody that they feel like this is your market value. That's where they are. They just won't budge on that, and I think that's why they're probably letting him go.
All right, we're going to have plenty more as the week unfolds here. It's free agency week. The deals will be done. The money will be flying, and we'll be breaking it all down on PFT Live and PFT OT. And Chris Sims Unbuttoned, a new edition of that coming. You doing that today?
I'm doing that today. Yep, we tape Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So, yeah, I'm a busy man.
How's it feel to actually work now?
Oh, gosh, this work thing is, man, it's a little overrated. I like sitting on the couch thing better.
All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow morning, PFT Live. Check out Chris Sims Unbuttoned and check us out around the clock at ProFootballTalk.com. Have a great day.
See ya.